direction this team's going in. They know their role on this team. They're not selfish guys. They understand the game of football. There's going to be ups and downs, and they just keep pushing.
Even though you're playing well, sometimes maybe you don't have that high percentage to throw. What's the confidence in Kevin Wright or Mario to go up there and get that?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the game and I didn't really think I played worth a damn. Honestly, just stats look good, but honestly, there's a lot of things we could have done better. Could have put some balls out there a little further, and they just made plays. They could have made it easier on our guys, and a lot of it had to do with conditions. No excuse, but I mean it did. It's tough to throw in the rain. Everyone knows that, but we were able to and do it at a high level, and those guys made plays when they needed to. So.
With the recent success you've been having, is there any one or a few things you can pinpoint to that success, whether it be protection, play calls, chemistry?
Honestly, I would think it's a collection of all of them. Coach has really been on his game, playing play calls, and it doesn't help when players are making huge plays like Kevin and Mario are, and Tequila and Squirt, and even all of our running backs. And then not to mention, I'm not getting touched back there in the pocket. So having all that around you, there's not much to complain about, and there really isn't. We're playing well on every position on offense. There's still things that we can get better in certain situations, and we're going to continue to work on that this week.
That pop you took at the pylon, man, was it knock the wind out of you? Dana said you were faking earlier today, just so you know.
Yeah, I was faking a little bit. Just wanted to add some drama to the game.
World Cup, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't enough drama.
Yeah, exactly.
Did it just get you in the ribs, or?
It was just took a second. I had to get myself together, and I was good.
Good for the fourth down play coming up, though, right?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about a little kid that was Clint Trickett running around the locker room and what you got from that as far as learning machinations of a football team?
Especially being here in this program, it is different than any program I've been a part of, and I think people know that. There's a connection between us, the fans, the community, the state, and growing up as a kid, I got to see that. I know the ups and the downs that the state goes through when the team does good or does bad, and I think that's big. Being the quarterback of the team, being the leader of the team, to know how much it means to everyone else outside of this locker room.
Learning what a football player is supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. I've been around some great role models growing up. I was fortunate. I was able to learn from Rasheed, from Quincy, from Pat, all those guys, and Steve, and Dan Moses. I learned what it's supposed to be and what it's not supposed to be at a young age.
And as a coach's son, how do you, what was it like? Did you guys sit at home in the evenings and talk football?
No. It's not, like you said, coach's son, but it's not a typical coach you're dealing with either. So, we get home.
Did he hit you with his hat?
A little worse, but no, he, and I'm thankful for the way I was brought up and the way I was raised. I wanted to trade it for another way, but we'd go home and we really wouldn't talk football. I'd get plenty of it right when school was over. If I didn't have practice, I'm over here, I'm watching practice and everything, and I'd get there and we'd go home and we wouldn't really talk football. We'd talk hunting, we'd talk old westerns, and football kind of stayed here. So. But with that being said, Dad wasn't home very much for it to be that way. So.
Studying Oklahoma, what do you see on them, some of their tendencies?
We haven't really gotten into them too deep just yet. I was in there watching it before we got in here, just a tad, and we're just going over some things, what we were doing offensively. I'm still grading myself from last week from Maryland, and we'll dive into that more here in the next couple hours before practice.
Okay, Clint, I'm looking for some inside information here. We're not allowed in the locker room. Who was more tired after that game, you, the offensive line, or Coach Dawson?
That's a toss-up. I'd probably have to say the offensive line. They have about 190 more pounds on me. So those dudes ran the same amount of plays, and they did a lot more work than me. So I'd say them. I was probably more mentally drained, but physically, definitely those guys. So.
Is that bootleg run driving you crazy?
No.
It's the only one that Dana said you haven't made yet.
No, it's part of the game. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. There's going to be plays you want back every week, and they covered it up pretty well. So.
Kevin Morgan is they're not going to have games like they do that each Saturday.
Why not?
I hope they can. But is there? I mean, it looked like he went to shorts last week a lot, and even the week before, he went to Squirt a lot.
Yeah, well, Squirt, he's going to be back this week. He's going to be 100% healthy. He had a little nick, but and Tequila stepped up like he did, all last year. And so we got our 2 inside guys are solid, and outside guys are more than capable of making those plays, and they're going to continue that this year. And I'm going to make it easier on them, so they don't have to make such spectacular plays. And we're just going to continue to get better.
You said earlier that you didn't play with a down, and you win Walter Camp National Player of the Week. I mean, can you kind of speak to what you saw in the film that you wish you'd done better?
I should have won it. Kevin White and Mario should have. I mean, those guys played phenomenal, as you saw. I got to be able to make it easier on those guys. I shouldn't put them in such situations where they have to make phenomenal plays like they did. I can make it so it's routine type plays. And that's one thing I'm going to work on this week.
You don't go into a huddle too often, but what's it like with all those skilled players that all have those abilities, in distributing the ball? I mean, is that just a decision of the play, or was somebody actually coming back and saying, hey, I want the ball, I want the ball?
No. None of them are like that. They all understand how the offense works. They're all selfless guys. I think the majority of us, honestly, want our teammates to succeed more than we want ourselves. I mean, and that's why we have such good team cohesion. And it's whatever the play call is, and we're moving at a high tempo, so you don't really get to think about it at the time. But you just go through your reads, and we know if we have certain looks to go here or certain looks to go there. And I understand that, the skill guys understand it, the line understands it, and we're all on the same page, and I think it shows out there on the field.